It's FA Cup weekend, but do you really want it? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Big Arsenal Breakfast Show. I am your host, Edwin Ash, and we are here on a Saturday, live 9 a.m. to talk about the FA Cup weekend. Before we get into that, if I may, just take a little bit of time to do a little bit of admin, which is basically, if you like this stuff, please tickle the like button. If you want to subscribe, if you can be bothered, subscribe. Really helps us in the channel. But most importantly, if you want to get involved, hit us up on the socials. Get in the comments or hit us up on the socials. On TikTok, it's Big Arse Breakfast. On Insta, it's Big Arse Breakfast. On X, it's Big Arse Brekkie. And we're on Blue Sky as well. I can never be bothered to read that out because it's so goddamn long. But what are we here to do this morning? Well, it's FA Cup weekend. And we've got a big small game against Mansfield. We'll preview that game this morning. We'll hear what the boss had to say. We'll predict some lineups, and we'll get your Big Arse opinions and your Big Arse team talks. Plus, how do you feel about the cups? That's what I kind of want to know. How are you feeling about these cups? Are they a potential to scupper greater glory, or would they form the potential part of a greatest glory ever? I want to know about it. There's been some discussion about this. I've been scouring across the socials, listening to the pods, watching the YouTubes, and it seems quite split. Some of the fan base are like, you know what? I've even heard whispers today that if we exited the cup, it wouldn't be a bad thing. Not sure about that. Not sure I could quite handle that. But we'll get into it. But first, we're going to start off with a little bit of general news. Of what's been going on around the world. Starting with... Let's go with Mikel Arteta won Manager of the Year. The London Football Awards. Now, this happened not last night, night before, and it was announced at the time that Declan Rice had won Player of the Year, and that was quite late in the day, and I woke up the next morning to find this, and I have to say, I missed it. So here we go. Just go through it quickly. He wasn't the only one that was collecting silverware at the London Football Awards. For Arsenal, Declan Rice was obviously named Player of the Year, Premier League Player of the Year. David Raya won Goalkeeper of the Year, well deserved. And Alessia Russo took home the WSL Player of the Year for her work with the Arsenal women. And Eberechi Eze won the inaugural Men's PFA Player in the Community Award. It was actually representing Crystal Palace, but obviously adding to the London talent that was on display. Yeah, interesting stuff. Not much more to say about that. Interesting stuff. Well done, guys. Getting Arsenal on the board. We're everywhere. We're huge. We're massive. What else have we got in the news? Just a tiny bit. I wanted to talk a little bit about reports that Fabio Vieira is wanted by Hamburg. Florian Plettenberg reported that Hamburg SV would like to keep Fabio Vieira for the long term. To do that, they would need to buy him, as his contract with Arsenal runs until 2027. Early stage, but HSV, or auf Deutsch, HSV, thank you very much, are going to try. However, Vieira has received numerous inquiries. Stats in his Bundesliga appearances this season are 4 goals, 4 assists. I mean, they can give it a go. They can try and buy him. I reckon with the sort of money that Hamburg are carrying, I probably would accept an offer of 6 Deutschmarks. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Now, a little bit of a preview. So this Mansfield game, how are we feeling? Is it a distraction? Do we want this cup? If we go deeper, are we going to go for it? If we get through today, it's not a guarantee, but if we get through today, what happens if we come up against a massive rival in a fixture pile-up? I mean, is it really something that we can handle? Oh, little chat here. It comes from Chris, the Valentine. He said we should win everything. Good morning, mate. Good morning to you too. Good morning to you too, Chris. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for joining us. We should win everything. We should go for everything. I'm in agreement with Chris. I think we should go for everything. I think we've got the squad to handle that kind of stuff. And I know in certain places there's a few injury niggles here and there, and it's a little bit bitty and whatnot. But I think, touch wood, the fixtures are falling well for us this year so far. That's kind of what I think. Let's have a little look at what Mikel Arteta thinks. He said they did this presser. This kind of annoys me. I know it annoys a lot of people, but they did the presser immediately after the Brighton game. And I always think that I get it because they're running out of time. But would it be so difficult to just send a load of journalists down on a Friday morning to just say, Mikel, quick thing about the Mansfield game? I think it's so weird to blend those two emotions. I know the managers can do it, but to come out of the Brighton game, it's a big night, a big result, and they go, oh, what do you think about that game coming up? Can we get a little embargoed section here so we can release that at a later date? And they released it really late last night. Why am I complaining about this? Because I sat up all night waiting for it. So, think of me, guys, please. It's not about the football. It's not about the team. It's about me. Of course, I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. But let's have a little look at what he had to say. Quite a lot to get through. So, on being favourites to the game, he said, yes, but I think I've been in this country long enough to understand that being favourites doesn't mean anything when it comes to that competition. At the time of the day, in that ground, I know that they're going to have the belief, the hope, the conviction that they can beat us, and we need to be very well prepared. On motivating players for the game, he said, we have played very similar games now in other competitions or in the FA Cup as well. So we are very aware of what the game is going to demand. So from Thursday, we will prepare for that. On Mansfield's pitch, he said, it's normal. It's the beauty of the competition as well. You have to go there. You have to adapt. Since I was little, we've all been playing in those stadiums or worse. So you need to adapt to the context to make the most out of it. On dealing with FA Cup upsets as a player, he said, I don't want to put that negativity on it. We've been knocked out a few times in a difficult way, and it's a terrible feeling. It feels like it damages your reputation, so you don't want to go through that. In order not to go through that, you have to prepare so well and compete so well. He went on to say, losing the FA Cup can damage confidence in other competitions. He said it can, but hopefully we're going to do what we have to do and try to earn the right to win the game. He was also asked about Nigel Clough and his father, Brian. Nigel Clough obviously being a Mansfield Town manager. He said, I will read much more. I'm very interested when I read the reports to understand the history, the tradition, the values that they have, to understand as well better what they will try and do. He was asked on Max Dowman. Ooh, I love a bit of Max Dowman in the team. Love to see that. He said, Max Dowman has learned in his recovery from injury. What Max Dowman has learned in his recovery from injury? That was the question. He said a lot. First of all, you miss playing. That's the first thing. So don't take it for granted because it can be taken away from you when you don't expect it. And for a long time as well. He had different routines. He starts to understand more the rehab coaches, the physio, the doctor, the importance of the scan, the discipline that you need to maintain yourself fit when you have an injury, because if not, it's going to take a long time to get back to your levels. But he's done so well. He's been looking really good in training, and hopefully we can give him chances to play. I hope we can too, Mikel. He was asked about the volume of the games in all competitions and prioritizing particular competitions, which is kind of what we're talking about here today. He said, we are doing that in certain moments and trying to use the rotations in the right way, but you need players available. And at the start of the season, we had a lot of issues in the front line, then in the back line, now in the middle with players with a lot of issues as well. So it becomes complicated. That's what I said, that certain players are already much higher than they were last season. And we are early in March. Yeah, I mean, he's basically talking about how everyone's gassed. And boy, don't we see it. We're seeing it a lot. So that rotation today is obviously, it goes without saying, it's going to be very, very important. He was asked if the early kickoff presents a problem. He said, it is what it is. We know that. I've been here long enough. It's nothing to do with us. Short and to the point. if the pitch condition affects the team selection, he said it can do, especially if there's a player that's carrying some injuries. The pitch can have an effect on him in the wrong way, especially certain muscles. But hopefully we're going to have the ones that we need fit and available. Yeah, something to consider, that, isn't it? Impact. Bad pitches and impact. And then lastly, on Saliba's ankle injury, if it was the same as before, I said, no, it's not the same. It's the other one we saw after the game. He wasn't comfortable to finish the game. And after that, straight away, he didn't have a good feeling. So let's see if he recovers quickly. And someone went on to ask him further, will he be available for Mansfield? And he said, Arteta said, I doubt it. I mean, even if he was fit, I don't think he'd be playing, would he? Interestingly, I took that off the Arsenal website and then went and skiddled over to Football London, Tom Canton's transcription. Interestingly, the Arsenal website didn't include the question you got asked about Mars Lewis Skelly. Someone asked, can I just ask one on Mars as well, who obviously hasn't had loads of games? Do you still feel like for him there's going to be good enough opportunities? He's obviously looking at the World Cup in England. Will there be time for him to try and break back into Tuchel's squad? I thought it was an interesting question. And Arteta said yes. And when he has those opportunities to grab them, his attitude has been excellent. He's not playing more because there are other players that are playing as well. They've been phenomenal. That's football, but we'll try to give him the minutes he deserves. Unfortunately, it won't be today against Mansfield, because he's suspended, which is really frustrating. And it must be really frustrating for Miles. He does need those minutes. He really does need those minutes. Let's have a little look at a predicted 11. I mean, this really is all over the shop. I'm not entirely sure if I can predict this or anyone can, to be honest with you. I'd like to think there'd be more of the academy players coming in. But you never know with Mikel. You really don't. It's not a place to criticize, but you never really, really know. But I think he's going to go with Kepa in goal, Marli Salmon on the right, Mosquera, Hincapié across the back line, then Calafiori on the left. Ødegaard and Havertz maybe in midfield. Maybe Havertz for minutes. Don't know. Possibly Max Dowman on the right. Trossard maybe filling in the 10 spot because obviously Ødegaard's not fit. Madueke left and Jesus up top. I mean, I have to say, this is one of the hardest ones for me to predict. Yeah, I don't have a clue. I have no idea. But I think it will shape up something like that. I mean, what we do know is it will be a heavy rotation, and it should be. So yeah, that was the best I could do, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not an aficionado. I don't have an inside track on this yet. But there we are. A little bit about Mansfield. They're currently sitting 16th in League One, teetering above the relegation, but with 41 points, which I think is more than Tottenham. Yeah. It's a historical weekend for Mansfield Town. It's the first time I think they've hosted Arsenal in nearly 51 years. I've done a bit of diving with them. They face a bit of a defensive headache. They've got a few players out. Some of their key absences, I understand, are Bailey Cargill and Ryan Sweeney. Defenders are both out with long-term hamstring injuries. And then there's a chap called Luke Bolton, who's a right midfielder. He's expected to miss out because he got forced off an injury against their game against Rotherham with some sort of calf problem. I mean, Clough sort of sees it, I think, as a free hit. I think he called it a free hit in his Friday press conference. He said it's a massive occasion, but their league clash against Reading next Tuesday is technically more important for their League One survival. And this is the world we live in now, isn't it? This is the world we live in. I totally understand that. So we don't know. We don't know. Now, so there's a bit of a preview of the Mansfield game. There is something I did want to talk about, discuss a little bit. I don't want to harp on too much about this negativity and this criticism surrounding Arsenal this week, but it really has been almost out of control. But there is a part of me that wonders that if the tide is starting to turn on that. I mean, I posted on yesterday's show some comments online from rival fans that even said they're getting sick of the Arsenal slander. And even I think Alan Shearer said on that The Rest is Football, there's a clip doing the rounds, basically kind of sort of coming to Arsenal's defence after Hertzler's comments. And it looked like he was getting a bit fed up with it. I mean, the general idea is that, and we know this, that if we win the league, we don't give a flying fudge what people say about it and how we do it. We have to get there. We have to get there. So the criticism seems a little bit weird, if not sometimes hypocritical. I mean, I was listening to the Le Grove podcast this morning, and Pedro said, if you don't listen to that, it's a brilliant podcast, by the way. And Pedro basically said that surely having Arsenal fans onside has its benefits as opposed to just riling them all up. We're a big fan base. We're a big online community. I personally think that some other YouTubers and podcasters, not pundits, but YouTubers and podcasters, have lent into that quite early. I'm not saying that it's contrived. I'm not saying they don't believe this, but I noticed that Terry Flewers and Goldbridge tend to have some pretty kind things to say about Arsenal. I'm not saying, there's an ulterior motive, but I'm sure it's good having them on your side. It's a big fan base. So my real question is, after what we've seen this week, are Arsenal ruining the Premier League? I'll say again. After what we've seen this week, are Arsenal ruining the Premier League? Or are the pundits ruining the Premier League? Now, hear me out. In the UK, in England, in the Premier League, right, we have a title race that looks like it's going down to the wire. We have a top 5 chase for Europe with, 6 teams competing, 5 teams competing. We have an extensive relegation battle, right? It is the closest and probably most interesting Premier League that we've seen in years. And all I hear is pundits who are paid by broadcasters that pay a lot of money for that product to talk about it, shitting on it. Constantly shitting on the product that they're paid to comment on by the broadcasters who pay loads of money to the Premier League for the rights. It's an extraordinary, brand damaging exercise. Why on earth, given with everything that's going on in the Premier League, all this competition, all these teams taking points off of each other, all these multiple races, which will go down to the wire. I think the last day of the season has the potential to be an all-time classic. And yet all I'm hearing from all these pundits and so-called legacy experts and ex-players is how shit the Premier League is. Mate, take a look at the Bundesliga. No offense, Bundesliga. I actually have a bit of an invested interest in it. I do follow it. But they're giving that away for free. The Bundesliga has been given away for free to air to BBC, to Sky, the overlap, Goldbridge. No disrespect to Goldbridge at all. No disrespect. But they've given it away for free. They can't even sell that. Right? I saw a clip of Goldbridge this morning, doing his thing, which he does incredibly well. And he's commentating on the fact that Bayern Munich didn't get a penalty. He's like, oh, that should be a penalty. That should be a penalty. But you know what? There's no fucking jeopardy in it because they smashed Borussia Mönchengladbach 4-1. There's no jeopardy in those games. Bayern Munich are 14 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. It's March 7th. So what on earth do you want? What more do you want from this Premier League? And I say it is not Arsenal ruining the Premier League. It's the fucking pundits. Scene. I just had to get that out of my system. Yeah. Chris has commented again. Let's have a little look at what Chris has had to say. So I think we're doing the best we can in what the Premier League has become. Pep pushed the technicality so high that most teams had to play low blocks or mid blocks just to survive. That's absolutely right. Chris is absolutely bang on. I mean, I'm not saying that Pep brought his tiki-taka necessarily to Man City, but there was a sort of tiki-taka period, wasn't there? And they were just all over the shop opening teams up. And it's right. Teams had to become far more compact and they had to become far more tactically minded. And I said this on the show. I've said this every day on the show. We've got better coaches in the Premier League, got better players. Most teams are using their budgets to really, really good value. And the ones that don't have the structure, that don't know what they're buying, and they don't have good management, don't have good tactics, they are the ones that are now struggling in a relegation battle. Your Tottenhams. Sorry. Let me start again. Your Tottenhams. Thank you. Nottingham Forest, who may well start to pull it back together. And then obviously West Ham may well start to pull it back together. But look at all those Brentfords. Look at I know Brighton have not won that many in the last 16 games. I know there's a bit of that, but they're still doing all right, you know? Look at Sunderland. I mean, it's incredible. So yes, Chris, I agree with your point. Very much so. Very, very much so. And thank you for getting involved, my friend. Let's have a look at what else people are saying around the Twitterverse. It's time for the Big Arse Opinions.
Apart from the two penalties you gave away, Shesh will never leave the way to dry.
Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the Big Arse Opinions. Again, having a little look around the Twitterverse and socials and whatnot, seeing what's going on in the Arsenal world. Before I do that, though, we really want to hear from you at the Big Arsenal Breakfast Show. We really want to hear from you. So TikTok, at Big Arse Breakfast. Insta, at Big Arse Breakfast. X, at Big Arse Brecky. And we're also on Blue Sky. So let's have a little... You can also email in if you want, if you're old school. I like a little email from now and then. Show at bigarsenalbreakfast.com. That's show at bigarsenalbreakfast.com. All right, starting off today, James AFC. I'm sure you know him. At AFCJ, Sames. He spells James with an X as opposed to an A. I think it's pretty cool, actually. I might start doing that. He said, this Mansfield game needs to be the most stress-free game ever for the sake of my health. This club is killing me. Now, admittedly, he posted this on immediately after the Brighton game. But that's, I couldn't agree more. This will be quite nice today, right? It's going to be all right. We're going to have a chillo day, aren't we? That's what we're going to get, right? We're going to get a chillo day, right? Somewhere reassuring. I'm sure we are. But let's lean into that. Hopefully, I'm with James on this. Hopefully, it's just a lovely little rollout, you know? Hilsey at Hilsey Gooner said, really looking forward to our trip to Mansfield tomorrow. Firstly, because it's enjoyable going to a new ground. And secondly, it's only just over an hour away from me. A very rare occurrence indeed. Well, you enjoy that short trip, Hilsey. There was something about that. I don't know. Look, full disclosure, right? Full disclosure. I used to knock around some lower division teams because of where I grew up, right? And there was a few around my area. And there is a part of me, I love going to the Emirates. I still enjoy it to this day. I absolutely love it. But I will say some of those lower league teams, when I used to go and watch those games when I was younger, they were amongst some of the funnest days I've ever had. I mean, the crowds are normally inventive and funny. The atmosphere is always good. Even if your team is shit, the atmosphere is always good because there's sort of this expectation that you're really there to support the club and the community and just get on with it. You know, there's no high expectations with some of these clubs. And I used to enjoy those. And those old grounds are absolutely fantastic as well. So if you're going up there today, enjoy it. I'm sure you will. Fair play for you traveling. And hopefully it'll be a good old day. This one came from King Boy. This was a lineup prediction or one that he wanted to start. I just thought it was nice to read one of these out because see what other people are thinking. Pretty similar thing, I think. Sort of confirms what we were all feeling. Kepper in goal, White, Salmon, Calafiori, MLS, although he's suspended, unfortunately, King Boy. Norgard. He's put himself in there. He's put himself in there. I love it. Madueke, Dowman, Nelly, and Jesus. He said, manager, Nicholas Yeovil, or any random Arsenal fan on Twitter. I'm more than happy to take that for a day. I'm more than happy to take that for today. We've got some Big Arse Team Talks coming up. So, you know, maybe one of those guys might get the role for just the day. And then lastly, Joe Analyst at Inchi Tenny, I think that is. Forgive me, I got that wrong. He said, Arsenal fans talk about the title race, but cup trophies still matter. Grok, he asked, I thought it was interesting. Should Arsenal prioritise the FA Cup this season? And Grok said, Great content here, Eddie. Great content. He said, no, Arsenal shouldn't prioritise the FA Cup over the Premier League title. Well, that's a no-brainer. They're 7 points clear at the top after 30 games. End the 22-year drought first. Rotate for Mansfield tomorrow so they stay fresh for the Champions League and league run-ins, but still go all out for the cup win. Silverware is silverware. Okay. I don't know why I picked that one. I thought it was interesting at the time. I must have been pissed. Yeah. And then, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Big Arse Opinion Instant Karma Take of the Day.
Instant Karma Take of the Day.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new to the show, the Instant Karma Take of the Day is the take that we tend to highlight or prioritize because if temperatures are running high, we're losing our shit and having a meltdown, there's always someone sensible out there to just take the edge off of that stress. And also on the opposite side of things, if we're getting a bit above our station, we're going to win it. Oh, we're going to win the Champions League, the World Cup, and the Olympics hockey. Then there's also sometimes someone just to bring in a little bit of something to just level us off, keep us clean, yeah, keep us on the level. And this one, I took this one from EBL at EBL 2017. He said, Mansfield plus Leverkusen away before Arsenal play Everton gives them an opportunity to play with extra freedom and less pressure ahead of Everton. Both suitable warm-up games because Arsenal will have most of the ball in each of them, need to play themselves into rhythm and flow. And I could not agree with that more. I thought it was a good, solid, interesting point. We've seen in these last few games, especially Brighton, really, the flow hasn't been there. It hasn't been there. There's a lot of criticism leveled at Arsenal for, playing ugly. They didn't even try. No, I think we were trying all right. I think we were trying. It's not like we are not a team that just goes, all right, scab a goal and don't give it a go. The problem is that we've not been able to give it a go. Killing those teams off or getting anywhere near them has been a bit of a problem. So I think I'm with EBL on this one. I think it provides a really solid opportunity to get the rhythm, the flow, the connections, the confidence in the attack back, and fingers crossed it will pay off. Yeah. So it's game day, and we know what that means.
Keep it simple.
One touch, two touch.
And then go in the mixer.
Get it on the deck.
The inverted wing backs need to occupy the half space to create a numerical overload in the central pivot.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for your Big Arse Team Talks. Oh, I love these. I absolutely love these. You can get involved, of course. The socials, the email, are giving it out. Right, let's get into it. Anfield89 says, their team talk would be, lads, the pitch is a levelling field, but our quality isn't. No excuses about the grass or the cold. We win the second balls, we dominate the duels, and we professionalise the game from minute one. Kill their hope early. 3-0, no injuries, move on. Is professionalise a word? Thank you, Anfield89. Arteta's light bulb got in touch, said, do not see the mud, see the friction. The friction is our fuel. We are the electricity in their swamp. If the ball stops rolling, we must vibrate higher. Be the light in the fog. Win the battle of the atoms. Come on, you Gunners. I have no idea what that means. We must vibrate higher. What were you doing last night, Arteta's light bulb? Thank you, though, for getting in touch. Gaz Daguna says, listen, if I see one player complaining about their boots getting dirty, I'm walking to Mansfield myself to sub them off. It's a League One size, not prime Barcelona. It's a League One side, not a prime Barcelona. Just kick the ball in the net and get back on the warm bus before my pie goes cold. I don't think we've got the sort of players that would complain about getting their boots dirty, you know. I don't think so. Maybe Calafiori? I don't know. I know. He's a well-dressed man. But thank you, Gaz Laguna, for getting in touch. Much appreciated. And that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Chris, for getting involved. Appreciate it, mate. Stay with us as we try and grow the channel. Please do don't smash the like, tickle the like, caress the subscribe if you like it. Hopefully no banana skin today. Enjoy the game wherever you're watching it. Enjoy your Saturday. We will be back here tomorrow, 9 a.m. to go through it all. It's Saturday. Get your arse in gear. See you tomorrow.